how would you what's the profile of Pinot Gris, and then what is it in comparison to, you know, growing it in? Could you use it in different regions?
Yeah, for me, Pinot Gris is a tough one. I probably like it the least in some ways. It's quite boring. Like it doesn't reveal much. It doesn't do much for you. It's easy to grow. Like it grows really well. Always has nice bunches. You've always got to drop a lot of fruit. Like it throws too much, so you have to drop crop. You have to be a little bit careful though, because Pinot Gris is one that the alcohol can race away, and that's why it goes better in really cold climates. So although we've got a cold climate and a cool site, the alcohols can still get up if you're not careful. So I tend to leave probably, I sort of devigor the vine a little bit, so it sort of has less ability to keep driving sugar, less photosynthetic area. But also I'll leave a little bit of fruit on there, and then I'll drop it late. Like I'll drop some early and then some a little bit later, just to try and stop them racing away. Because like similar to Pinot Noir, I like to leave it on the vine a little bit longer and trying to get some character. It's a funny one because there's no one style that's made. You know, it's made in so many different ways. My take on it, I like to try and keep it just pure and clean and fresh, and I make it similar to how I do my Sauvignon Blanc. Just I want a pure, clean, dry wine that just shows purely what the grape's doing. We'll do some portions of it, like the pressings will go to barrel. We'll have some portions we'll leave on skins for longer, maybe leave it in the press for overnight and then press it off. And so you end up with a little bit of colour and some more phenolics, and they'll give it more flavour. But at the end of the day, and then I just blend it back up from there. But for me, Gris, it's a hard one. It's probably well, having said that, when I launched my wine in Australia a couple of years ago, the Gris was what sold more than anything. Everyone loved the Gris, and it does well for me now. So I shouldn't bag it, but it's one of those things where you're like, well, making it just seems easy. There's not much to it. You just let it run its ferment and clean it up and throw it together, and that's what you got. So.
How does it compare between, let's say, Alsatian Pinot Gris, Oregon Pinot Gris, New Zealand Pinot? Does it vary?
Yeah, I would think.
Does it show its terroir like other grapes?
No, I don't think it shows it quite as much, to be honest. I think the way it would show would probably be in the alcohol levels that it gets. But then it's made in such different styles, because you can have it made with quite high residual sugars, quite rich and very ripe styles. And there's people who've done that in New Zealand. I mean, that was predominantly probably the style they copied in New Zealand, was that quite rich, big, 14.5%, 15% alcohol, still with some phenolics in there, probably 6 or 7 grams residual sugar to balance those phenolics out. But to me, that style, I can't really drink a lot of that style. I mean, if I had a bottle of that, it's just become sort of stodgy and heavy. It's just a personal thing. I mean, it's not bagging that style. But it's not this. I quite like my wines dry and precise, I guess, rather than really big and full blown. Having said that, I mean, I'm quite happy to drink really nice, sweet German Rieslings and things like that. But I think they've got that purity, that acidity that I love, that gives it that backbone, rather than. Whereas Pinot Gris can just be like a blob. It's So it's a tough one. But I haven't. Yeah. I don't drink a lot of Gris in general, so it's not it's not something I go and hunt out. Like I'd rather drink like white Burgundy and things like that. So.
Yeah. So